सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We'll chant the Dhyana Shloka together. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshiniim Bhagavatiin Ashtadashaadhyayiniim Ambatvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad-gīte Bhavatveshiniim Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullarabhindayata Patra Netra येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशल्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Mic is working. In the last class, we completed the Dhyana Shlokas of Bhagavad Gita written by Madhusudana Saraswati. And in those Dhyana Shlokas, we offered our prayer and appreciation of Bhagavad Gita text itself, the Acharya of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, the compiler of Bhagavad Gita, Vedavyasa, and the text Mahabharata in which this Bhagavad Gita is occurring. And finally, Namaskara to the Lord in general, especially from the standpoint of His attributeless, limitless nature. Now, we are entering into the text proper. The complete name of this text is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Even though people say Gita, Gita, it's okay. Like somebody's name Subramanyam is there, is Subbu Subbu people call. So similarly, complete name is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Short name is Gita. Don't say Kalita. So at least Gita or Gi. So don't say. So at least Gita you can keep. Because nowadays people have got, abridging everything, abbreviating everything. Brother is called what? Bro. I think mother may be called Mo also. Because mother, father is called Pa perhaps. So I don't know. So they are abbreviating everything. So original name is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. A song, a teaching given by glorious Lord. And by the way, the word Gita is a technical word. Gita means a text giving the teaching in the form of a dialogue, or to be what is called general, a text giving the teaching. Atma Vidyopadeshatmika Katha Giyate Yatra Sa Gita. The text in which there is presentation of the teaching on the self, that text is called Gita. And generally it will be in the form of a dialogue. And this Gita is also in the form of dialogue. There are so many Gitas. We have got Bhikshu Gita, Hamsa Gita, Rama Gita, Sannyasa Gita, Rubu Gita, so many Gitas are there. And when we say Gita without any specification, it means Bhagavad Gita. So it is like this Gita is so popular, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is so popular that Gita means Bhagavad Gita. Like in nowadays I don't know, but earlier days toothpaste means Colgate only. So toothpaste, when you say you give me toothpaste, they will give Colgate only. They will not ask. Because that's only. Biscuit means Parle only. So similarly, Gita means Bhagavad Gita only. But there are so many Gitas. Alright. And this Bhagavad Gita is occurring in Mahabharata, in Bhishma Parva, and it is having 18 chapters, 700 verses. And this Bhagavad Gita is in the form of a dialogue. Therefore, at the end of the chapter, we say, Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Samvada means a dialogue. Dialogue between whom? Shri Krishna and Arjuna. So, Bhagavad Gita is in the form of a dialogue. In fact, most of our Upanishads are in the form of a dialogue only. Why these texts are in the form of a dialogue? What is the reason? The reason is, if it is in a dialogue form, then we can get the idea. Dialogue is always between the Guru and Shishya. So when the teaching is given in the form of a dialogue, from that we understand that this Vidya is to be attained from Guru only. Apne aap nahi, self-study is not accepted. Self-study, selfasya study is okay. The study of the self is okay. But not self-help study. Study by the self is not accepted. Study is with the help of the Shastra and Guru. So necessity of Guru is highlighted by presenting the text in the form of a dialogue. Second significance of keeping this dialogue form is, it is made little more lucid. When any teaching is given in the form of a dialogue, then it becomes relatively easy to understand. Like in Tattva Bodha you have studied Atma Kaha, so you understand. Now the topic is Atma. Simply if they give Satchidananda Swarupa, we have to finally find out that is the topic of Atma. Shraddha Kidrishi, Shamah Kaha, Damah Kaha. So it becomes interesting. So it becomes easy and interesting. Therefore also dialogue form is kept in Shastra. Third significance of dialogue form is some of our questions are asked by the student in the text. What is bothering us? We sometimes do not know how to express our questions. And those questions which we would like to ask, but we do not know how to express our question, then it is found in the text and expressed by the disciple. We feel identified with that. Many times it happens. You may have questions, but you don't know how to ask. And many people have got this fear. What? My question may be silly questions. If I ask, people will laugh. So many people are afraid of asking, thinking that people will laugh or a teacher may laugh, saying that is a silly question, and therefore they don't ask. One thing I must tell you, no question is a silly question really. From the platform, a person is sitting, that question is valid. With the background of a person, whatever question he asks is valid. Suppose you are standing here and somebody asks you a question, where is the office? You may think it's silly, you have to just go straight, first thing will be office only. But for that person, it is valid. Because sometimes office is on the right side also. We do not know. Therefore, you may think it is silly, but for that person it is valid. So, a good teacher will never say to the disciple that your question is silly. You should never say to anybody, your question is silly. In fact, many times, parents do not know the answer of the question asked by the children. Therefore, what they will say, don't ask such silly questions. In fact, he is asking very intelligent questions. Like what? You say, everything is created by God. That's what you have been taught by your father, so you also teach to your son. Then he asks the question, who created God? Don't ask a silly question. Go and play. So, that is not correct. You can say that. If you don't know the answer, you can say, you have asked very intelligent question and I myself need to think about it. I will consult my teachers or some elders and will get back to you. The child will feel very good about itself. By snubbing the child that you are asking silly question, you are stunting the growth of the child. Never tell a child that you are asking silly questions. From the child's standpoint, even if you feel it is a silly question, it is a valid question. Like child asks, seeing your marriage photographs, child asks, Mom, where was I at that time? Child wants to know, where was I? Don't ask such a question. Don't say that. He wants to know. You can say, at that time you were not born. You were somewhere else with God. You can say that. See, if you have the heart to answer the child, you will get some answer, which will maintain the self-respect of the child. So, sometimes we are afraid of asking questions. Why should we be afraid? We should ask. Sometimes you go to somebody's house and you do not know the table manners or the customs there, you ask. I ask sometimes when I came to which item they eat first, because they serve everything in the beginning. In some places, in the beginning all items are served. So when to start? Gujaratis will start with sweet, but it may not be the right thing perhaps. We ask, nothing wrong. How to eat this, we don't know. Whether you have to peel it or directly eating, what we don't know. Some people go to the temple, that tirtham is given, so they take tirtham. Prasadam is prasadam. Then the leaf they eat. What to do with that leaf they give? So that should not be eaten. That should be do like this. You should know. Some people don't know. By the way, so questions are there, but we don't ask. And therefore, if somebody asks question, we feel good. That I also wanted to ask. Good you asked. And such situations are dealt with in dialogue form. When the student asks the question, our questions are also answered. Therefore, this Bhagavad Gita and other texts are in the form of a dialogue. And this dialogue will have some background, some story. So, our samvada, the dialogue between the student and teacher, will be having a background in the form of a story. In Bhagavad Gita also, there is a story given. And the story is from the first chapter, first shloka, up to the 10th shloka of the second chapter. So these shlokas are forming the story part, which is the background for the dialogue. Why is the story given? Some people say story useless. No, story also has got significance. What is the significance? The first significance of the story is to bring the disciple and the teacher together. That is first purpose. Second is, when story is there, some interest is generated. Because everybody loves story. Somebody said that everybody likes three things. One is story, other is chocolate, third is ice cream. So three. There may be some exception, but generally most of the people like this. And one of them is story. When story comes, no, our child in us is invoked. Everybody likes stories. Therefore, we read news. What is the story today? We are very curious. What is the news? So, even if breakfast is not given, doesn't matter. But newspaper should come. So, very important. So, story makes the reading interesting. That is the second purpose. Third purpose of this story is to highlight the qualifications of the student. Because the teaching is in the form of a dialogue between the student and teacher. And in this story, the qualifications of the students are highlighted. In Kathopanishad, the Nachiketa is the student, Yamraja is the teacher, and the story is given. And the story highlights that how intelligent was Nachiketa, how much vairagya he had, how much commitment to the truthfulness he had. Similarly, here also we find that how much vairagya Arjuna, how much vairagya for material things he had. And he was so mindful about his duty. All those things are highlighted. Yeah, incidentally, some of his good qualities are veiled, but basically, how good qualities he had, that is highlighted. And how he surrendered himself to Bhagavan. He told Bhagavan, you please rule over me, I am surrendered to you. So, all the students of all the qualities of the student are highlighted through the story. And one more purpose of the story is to highlight some aspects of Vedantic teaching. And here, one aspect of Vedantic teaching is highlighted, and that is analysis of the problem of samsara. Bhavaroga pariksha, bhavaroga vicharaha. Bhavaroga means samsara roga. Everybody is suffering from the disease of samsara. Generally, we don't like to be called that having disease, You don't like to be called a sick person. Even doctors don't like. I was told one lady, she's a doctor, and I was talking to her and I gave the example. Just as the patients, they do like this, the doctor has to do like this, therefore I am doing like this. She did not like her being compared to a patient. She is a doctor, but she doesn't like to be compared to a patient. That's an interesting thing. I thought the patient is their bread and butter. They should respect. But no, don't like to be compared with patient. Nobody likes to be called sick person. Even though you are unwell, but if you are a sick person, you don't like to be called. No, I'm okay. So, idea is that everybody has got bhava roga. Some people have understood it well. Some people are suffering but do not understand. Everybody has the problem of the disease of samsara. And what is this samsara? Not Tamil samsara, English samsara, or Sanskrit samsara. Tamil samsara means wife and husband, so they call it samsara. Here, samsara means depending upon the world to be happy. Raga, dependence upon something, someone or some situation to be happy. That is samsara. Or feeling helpless. Feeling a wanting person all the time. I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. Something I don't have. One symptom of samsari is he has so many buts. He will say, Swamiji, my children are okay, but my spouse is not okay. My spouse and children are okay, but my neighbor is not okay. One but is there. Are you okay, Swamiji? Yes, I am okay, but Swamiji, my in-laws are not okay. But. So samsari's symptom is what? But. One who is having so many buts, that is called samsari. And so samsara means feeling uncomfortable with oneself and the world. You are not feeling comfortable with yourself. You are not feeling comfortable with the world. You always have some complaint. This person is not okay, that person is not okay, this weather is not okay, my room is not okay. This is a very quite common thing here, that everybody wants to change the room. Now you are 3 months, so no problem. But if you stay a little more, Swamiji, I would like to change my room. They think by other room they will be alright. This room is not okay, other room will be okay. And after going that they will say, I have to change once again. People keep changing. Furniture you want to change. Any furniture you can't change, at least the arrangement of furniture you change. So you feel, this is better. This is a samsari lakshana. Not comfortable with what is. And always want to become somebody else. So one thing we need to know, samsara doesn't mean being married, having family. Most of the people think samsara means being married. They, in fact, in Hindi they say, Swamiji, abhi main sansari ho gaya. So now I have become samsari. No. Married is samsari, unmarried also is samsari. Unmarried wants to be married, therefore he is samsari. Married is regretting that he became married, therefore he is samsari. Both are samsari. If you are married and you are comfortable with yourself, you are not samsari. If you are not married and not missing the married life, you are not samsari. So having family or family life does not make you samsari, does not make you bound. Otherwise what happens? We always blame others for our misery. We think that, see, I am suffering because I got married. So because of this spouse I am... It's a wrong thing. As long as you are blaming the world for your problem, you have not started your spiritual life. Your spiritual life starts when you stop blaming the world for your misery. Own up your problem. Accept the responsibility. And thus, samsara means struggle to become somebody different. Samsara means dependence upon the world to be happy, peaceful and secure. Samsara means feeling helpless. Samsara means feeling inadequate. And that samsara is this samsara roga is analyzed in the story part of Bhagavad Gita. So the content of the first chapter and the 10th sloka of the second chapter is analysis of the problem of samsara. In Ayurveda they say that first of all you have to diagnose the problem. There is a very beautiful sloka which talks about the principle of medical science. What is that? Yaha vyaditaha vyadim aveti. One who understands vyadi, what is the disease, from the symptoms. First. Then, Vyadehe nidanam cha. The cause of the disease. First you understand what is the disease. Your diabetes is there, TB is there, whatever. Disease you understand. Then the cause for the disease you understand. Vyadehe nidanam. And then what? Third is what? Tadaushadam cha. And then you understand or find out the treatment. The course of treatment in terms of taking medicine, diet, etc. So 3 things are required. 3 pillars are there of medical science, Ayurveda. What is what? Understanding the disease, recognizing the disease, recognize the cause for the disease, and the treatment. And one who understands these 3 and takes the treatment, mitreihi abhiknahi upacharyamanaha saha arogyam apnoti. So one who does these 3 things, he attains arogya. He recognizes the disease, recognizes the cause for disease, finds out the cause, the way of treatment, the method of treatment, and he is treated well, then he gets arogya. Similarly, our samsara roga, we have to understand its nature and its cause. Why I am having this problem of samsara? And in the vision of Shastra, I am essentially, factually, really am free from samsara. Shastra says you are free right now. Not that you will become free. In the vision of Shastra, you are free here and now. We are in cash transaction, no credit. Right now, you are free. Vedanta doesn't say you will become free. Vedanta says, here and now, you are free. Factually, you are free. But if I am free, why do I feel bound? Shastra first will smile and tell. You should tell me. I am telling you are free. Why are you feeling bound? But see, I am feeling bound. Why am I feeling bound? Shastra says, because you do not know what you are. Since you do not know what you are identifying with what you are not. You do not know that you are limitless Atma, self. And therefore you are identifying with what you are not, Anatma, non-self. So factually you are limitless, free, ever free self, but you are identifying with non-self, and the non-self is limited. So what has happened? You are limitless, but you have taken yourself to be the body, mind, sense complex which is limited. Therefore what happens? You are considering yourself to be limited. Sometimes it happens that you are healthy physically, but by mistake you take somebody's report which is not a good report, and you start worrying what? Oh, I have got so much high cholesterol, so much BP, my report, so see, I am so much suffering. In fact, sometimes it happens in Olympic, it happened that one wrestler, her I think blood report or some report was mixed up with somebody, and with whom it was mixed up, that person has got some drug, and because of that this lady was disqualified, could not play. Happens. So you don't have problem, you have imported problems, like imported quality. Samsara is an imported quality. Sometimes it happens, I give this example. One person in Bangalore, financially he is okay. He is having good pension, he was in army, good pension. So he doesn't have problem. But he identified with one organization which has got financial problem. So all the time worried, oh no money, how to get fund. He was telling me, Swamiji, all the time I am thinking, how to get fund. And therefore his friends will, when he sees them, they will change the street. Imagine, personally doesn't have problem. But he identified with the organization so much that he is now feeling no money, no money, no money. Every jiva is like that only. By itself, you are limitless. But you have imported problem of someone, anatma. And therefore what is happening? You are feeling yourself to be limited. It's something like some parents. They themselves are alright. But their children are not well. Therefore they are worried. Their health is okay. But they are so much identified that it looks like as if their parents are having health issue. Sometimes the child doesn't feel so much about it. He is playing. But the parents come to know that child has got some very big disease, so they are worried. Child is enjoying. Similarly here, I am free. But I have identified with this body, etc. Therefore I am feeling limited. So what is this diagnosis? I do not know my limitless nature being self, and therefore I have identified with non-self which is limited. Therefore I am feeling limited. It is called in Sanskrit, it is called parichinnatva-bhimanam. There is feeling of being limited. And I will not be comfortable with being limited. Why? Because basically I am limitless. That's an interesting thing. That basically I am limitless, and therefore my feeling being limited will not be acceptable to myself. Therefore what? I want to come out of that. And therefore what? I will have various desires. So ignorance leads to identification with anatma. Anatma abhimana will lead to sense of limitation, and sense of limitation will lead to desires. I feel that if I get this, I will be alright. The unmarried one will think what? When I become married, I will be alright. Married thinks that when I get divorced, I will be alright. Both ways. Once it happened in this mental asylum, one person visited with the doctor, and he was telling about different cases, and they found that one person was crying, saying, Julie, when will you come? Then this visitor asked, what happened? He said he wanted to marry a lady called Julie, could not marry, and therefore he became crazy. Next room they went. Another person said, Julie? What are you doing? He said, what happened to this person? He said he got married with Julie. So both are having problem because of Julie. One could not marry Julie, therefore became mad. One married with Julie became mad. Anyway, so what happens? I am not comfortable being what I am, and therefore I have desire. Various desires. Desires to have more money, then desires to have this more enjoyment. Everybody will have desire. When will I go abroad? Those who have not gone abroad, they will have so craze about it. Nowadays it is not so uncommon. People going abroad is not so uncommon. When we were small, I think many of you must have seen, if somebody goes abroad, they used to come in the newspaper. You know, in Gujarati we used to read Videsha Gamanam, and down below photograph will be there. Have you seen that? Photograph, in that they will write that this person is going abroad. And when he comes back, there also again photograph. Swadesha Gamanam. Born voyage, yeah. And Swadesha Gamanam means he is coming back. I remember this, such a big craze. Nowadays, even Tom, Dick and Harry goes. So not a big thing. But still, people have craze. Oh, you have gone abroad? So, some craze will be there. Either money, going abroad, seeing places, or making some record. Some record I want to break, I want to make some record. Or I want to be very famous. My photograph should come in the newspaper. And they do something, So third page item, they call third page item, in the newspaper, third page. So they come. All this if person keeps doing, so various karma will be there. And when desire is there, what is the next thing? Karma, action will happen. Ignorance, identification with anatma, sense of limitation, desire. And desire will lead to what? Action. Because pressure of desire will make me act. So action, I keep busy myself. Because I have to fulfill so many desires. And then action will get some result, karma phala. And when I get the result of action, and if it is favorable, then I will be attached to that result of action. Everything in your life, whatever you get is always result of action. Whatever spouse you got, whatever child you got or you did not get, both are the result of some karma done in the past. Even your neighbor is result of your karma. Even in the class, whoever becomes neighbor is result of your karma. Sabka neighbor will be disturbing. Every now and then they will do like this. So it is result of your karma. 1 hour karma, over. Anyway, so you get the result and you get some result you get attached to. Raga will be there. Sometimes dvesha will be there. And raga, the attachment to the result, the situation or the person. Anybody comes in your life is the result of your karma. So somebody comes in your life, your spouse, your children, your brothers, sisters, friends, all of them are result of your karma. And you get attached to some people. And you know what is attachment? Attachment is dependence upon them for being happy. When you are attached to your spouse means what? Your happiness depends upon the presence of your spouse. What is the dvesha, hatred? When your happiness depends upon the absence of that person, then you have got dvesha. Swamiji, when they will go? When will he go? When will he go? I am waiting for him to go. So then you have dvesha. And when will he come? When will he come? I am eagerly waiting. Raga. So person will have raga with the result of karma, and any result of karma in the form of people, objects and situation will end sometime, will have the end. They will be finished. The association with them will be over sometime. It will end. Because sarve sanyogaha viprayogantaha, in Mahabharata very nicely said, all association will end up in dissociation. When you meet with someone, so meeting will end up in what? Separation. Every meeting will end up in separation. And therefore what will happen? When separation happens, separation from the object you like, separation from the person you like, separation from the situation you like, then what? Tears come. I cry. Children is very clear. It's one, the ashram, where they conduct children program. So they were telling, Swamiji, when children come here, they cry. Because they don't want to be here. Parents come to drop, they will be crying. And when they leave also, they cry. The reason is different. They don't want to leave the ashram now. So samsari's lakshana is what? Crying. So what happens? When the object or the person of my attachment goes away, there is shokaha. So raga, attachment leads to shoka, grief. And sometimes attachment is so strong that not mere separation, even mere, not only separation, even the thought of separation causes sorrow. You must have experienced this. The people who are highly attached to, you do not want to even think about their absence. Even the thought of, oh, he may die, she may die, that very thought also you don't want to entertain. It shudders you. It creates sorrow in you. When you come to know that this person is going to die, that very thought makes you sad. So, raga will lead to shoka, sorrow. And when raga and shoka, the attachment and sorrow are there, one more thing comes, and that is moha. Moha means delusion. Seeing things upside down. What is right you will think as wrong, and what is wrong you will see it as right. You see in your life, when you were under the spell of attachment to someone or something, even if other people explain, don't do this, but you will see that thing alone to be right. Many times parents will tell that this boy is not good for you. His background is not good. He doesn't have samskara. This girl will not listen. Why? He says, no, he is very good. He has got all potential. He is doing all job. He is earning a lot. Father has already done reality check. This fellow doesn't have any qualification, etc. But this girl will not listen. Why? Under the spell of raga. So what is right will appear wrong. What father is saying or mother is saying is right, but child will not accept. And what is wrong, he will accept as right. So if it is said that if that person says that no, I have so much money, I have this job offer and all this, is wrong, but she will take it as right. So under the spell of this raga and shoka, all things will look upside down. Means right will be seen as wrong, wrong will be seen as right. Your ability to think goes away. You must have seen that when you are under the spell of sorrow and somebody suggests some funny solution, that also will do it. You are having some problems and somebody says, you just add one A in your name. Jagannatha is there, no? N-A-T-H not correct. N-A-T-H. What you do? N-double-A-T-H. It's a very silly solution. But it will work. And he does so much for that. He has to change and all this, give the notification. All this will do. Thinking that if I add my all problem will be solved. I remember when we were small and we went to some place in the forest and some temple was there and we got into some problem. We lost the place or something happened. And at that time we had found these peacock's feathers. So we were holding. And then we going. Somebody said what? He said, you drop this peacock feather, the problem will be solved. So we dropped it. Really speaking, no connection. But when you are under sorrow, no, illogical things also will look logical to you. You can see in your life. If somebody says that you keep the button, the first button open, your problem will be solved. You will do it. Really, no connection. You will do it. And when I think many of you must have experienced that result of exam is going to come and you are not sure whether you will be passed or not. Vehicle is coming from behind. You are on the bridge. You think in your mind, what? If I cross the bridge before the vehicle crosses, I will become first. I will pass. Have you done that? How illogical it is. What is the connection between vehicle passing and my getting passed in the exam? No connection, but we do connect. Now we can understand, when we are under the spell of anxiety, sorrow, illogical things will look logical. And we run fast also. And sometimes vehicle passes first, then you say 3 tries. Because one time it was. I think I have done this. I think some of you must have done that. This is how it happened. So raga leads to the problem of shoka, and raga shoka together leads to the problem of moha. And last, these three stages, raga, shoka and moha, are presented in the first chapter and the second chapter, 10 verses. Arjuna, when he entered into the battlefield, he was alright. He was very much aware that this is a dharma yuddha. This is a war for righteousness. It is not for earning or acquiring land. It is for protecting dharma. We are Kshatriyas, it is our duty to protect dharma, and therefore this war is there. But when he entered into the battlefield, when he saw his relatives, then his raga problem was surfaced. He said, oh, my Bhishma Pitamaha, my Guru Dronacharya, my brothers. So he looked upon all of them as relatives. He should see them as what? He should see them as warriors. When you are playing, you are a batsman, other person is bowler. Even though he happens to be your brother, you are playing for your team, so you should hit. No, my brother, I should not hit you. So get out. So that's not correct. You are under the this spell of raga. The two Williams sisters were there in tennis, if you know. So they used to play. They play very sincerely. They will not. Oh, my sister will let her win. No, very passionately they will play. That is called correct spirit. So when you are in the battlefield, you are a warrior. Other person is warrior. But instead of seeing them as warrior, he saw them as relatives. And that changed the equation. So his raga was surfaced. And because of his attachment, he got into the problem of depression. Temporary depression. Technically we cannot call depression, sorrow. And you know what he is going to say? He said, I am not able to stand. My bow is falling down. My mind is reeling. And my all limbs of the body are drooping. I want to run away from this. I can't fight. So he got into the problem of sorrow, and then he started giving the arguments that this war is not a solution. We should compromise. We should surrender to them. Let them do whatever they want. And in fact, he started thinking of taking sannyas also. He said, sannyasa is good. In fact, many people do like this. This fellow asked for coffee in the house. Coffee. And nobody answered. So he said, I will go to Rishikesh. And because nobody gives me even coffee in my house. So he goes to Rishikesh. Thinking that Rishikesh problem will be solved. No. There also nobody is there to give you coffee. Even water they will not give you. So people think that by taking sannyasa, they will be free from all problems. Never. Those who are running from their situation and become sannyasi, they don't become successful sannyasi. If escapism is the basis for your sannyasa, then sannyasa will not be successful. You don't give up, you outgrow a thing. Not that I can't handle the situation, therefore I run away. That is not a healthy state of mind. So Arjuna wanted to do that. He said, I can't handle, so let me take sannyasa. It doesn't work that way. Because you are living the situation with a weak mind, with escapist mind. And escapism is not a healthy state of mind. In Vedanta also you will do that. You know what? When you are studying Shastra, this portion is very difficult, give up. This portion is very difficult, give up. So you will have very little to study. Because your mind what? Escaping. Any situation, meditation, very difficult, don't do it. Only Hare Ram, you just do, it's easy. Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. This Atma is not attained by a weak person. Not physically weak, mentally weak person. And therefore, Arjuna's mental state, unhealthy mental state, he wanted to run away. But one good thing happened is, he was having a very good guide in his life. And therefore, he thought, this type of situation is happening in my life all the time. Every time I am having this type of situation, that whatever I do, I am still limited. Whatever I do, I am still limited. There must be some way out to this fundamental problem. So Puja Swamiji says nicely, from topical problem, Arjuna entered into the appreciation of fundamental problem. Topical problem was whether to fight this war or not. From that topical problem, he went to the fundamental. Why am I having this sorrow all the time in my life? Fundamental. Generally, a person gets fever, he takes crocin. Another time, fever again crocin. Then one day he discussed, why every now and then fever is coming? Let me go to the doctor and check up. Similarly, Arjuna thought that this problem has been happening and let me get out of this. And therefore, he surrenders to Bhagavan. And then he requests Bhagavan, please guide me. How to get rid of this problem of samsara? And then Bhagavan starts the teaching. So the first chapter is titled as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yoga means topic. So Arjuna Vishada Yoga, people think that yoga means the karma yoga, bhakti yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita, how many sadhanas are talked about? 18 sadhanas are talked about. Because so many 18 yogas, no? The Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dana Karma Sannyas Yoga, Karma Sannyas Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Dana Vijnana Yoga, Akshara Brahma Yoga, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga, all chapters are there. So you think that 18 sadhanas are there. No. Yoga means topic. So Arjuna Vishada Yoga is the name of the first chapter. What does it mean? First chapter is having the topic. Yoga means topic. What is the topic? Arjuna Vishada. Vishada means sorrow. Arjuna's sorrow is the main topic of the chapter. Therefore, it is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Then somebody may say, Swamiji, why should we study somebody's sorrow? We have enough sorrow for ourselves. Yes. We study Arjuna's sorrow because his sorrow led him to surrender to Bhagavan and getting knowledge. So when sorrow comes in your life, there are two options. One is that if you have followed the life of dharma, then sorrow will lead you to find out the fundamental solution of the problem. It will lead you to Vedanta Vichara, Shastra Vichara, some Guru. If sorrow leads you to approaching Guru, going to the Guru, some Swami, then sorrow also in a way blessing. It's a blessing in disguise. If sorrow leads to going to the teacher, going to the Shastra, then sorrow also is a blessing. But if sorrow leads you to some drugs or alcohol or some smoking, etc., or nowadays, you know what they do? When they are feeling too much sorrowful, they eat little more. Ice cream they will take, chocolate they will take, because they are emotionally they are feeling this sad. And nowadays, when they are sad, stressed, anxious, they eat more chocolates, more ice cream, more fried things. It is called emotional eating. So eating not because of this hunger, eating to feel good. And therefore nowadays is opposite. In olden days when person had worries, they used to become thin. Because ice cream, chocolates were not there. Now people have worries, they put on weight. Opposite thing. Why? Because of this emotional eating. Each person is not feeling sleepy and not getting sleep. So much worried. So what will he do? He goes to the kitchen, opens the fridge, takes out chocolate, night 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So fat is directly going. Because no workout. Anyway, so what happens? That people, when sorrowful situation comes, they generally try to find out some means for escape. and therefore they become more samsari. So now he had some stress, some sorrow, and now he is putting on weight. So another problem. One problem brought the another problem. First problem brought the second problem. And that is how, if sorrow takes you to Vedanta, sorrow is a blessing. If sorrow takes you to some means of escapism, then it is not a blessing. And it leads to your further samsara. In case of Arjuna, his sorrow led him to the discovery of this Atmak Dhanam. He led him to approaching the teacher. Therefore, we are studying the Vishada of Arjuna. And therefore, this chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. With this background, we will enter into the chapter. At least I wanted to start the chapter. Atha prathamodhyayah Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra uvacha. There is a background. Dhritarashtra is the father of Kauravas. In the beginning, when I introduced this Bhagavad Gita in the first talk, I said that Bhagavad Gita is having the background of Mahabharata war between Kauravas and Pandavas. 100 Kauravas who are given to adharma and 5 Pandavas who are given to dharma. And the father of the Kauravas is Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra was blind. And it can be taken symbolically also. Factually he was blind, but it is symbolic. That adharma is born of ignorance. Adharma charanam happens because you have got ignorance of the fact that dharma alone jayati. Yatra dharmaha tatra jayaha. Yato dharmaha tato jayaha. This fact is not known clearly, therefore this adharma comes. And that the ignorance is represented by Dhritarashtra, the father of Kauravas. And he asked his driver cum secretary, Sanjaya. What did he ask? That, hey Sanjaya, Mamakaha, my children, Pandavaha, and the 5 Pandavas, my nephews, who are Samavetaha, who are assembled. Where are they assembled? Dharmakshetre Kurukshetra. In the place called Kurukshetra, which is also called Dharmakshetra, the field of Dharma, in that they were assembled. And what for? Cricket match or what? No, Yuyutsavaha, desirous of fighting. Yoddhum Ichchavaha. With a desire to fight, they were assembled. And Kima Kurvata, what did they do? Hey Sanjaya, my children and my nephews who are assembled in Kurukshetra, which is otherwise called Dharmakshetra, what did they do? Kima Kurvata. In a way, it's a silly question. See, people, 2 groups of people, desirous of playing cricket, they went to the ground. What will they do? Play cricket. So similarly, my children and Pandavas, Yuyutsavaha, desirous of fighting, they were assembled. What did they do? That's what he is asking. But there is a reason for that. Why did he ask like this? There is a reason. We'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru